It's 26 degrees in Jacksonville, Florida, 5 in Bristol, 2 in Dungannon. This is TealTalk. I'm Jay Lawrence. Again, if this is the first time that you've ever listened, no relation. He's Kee Ramsorrun, and this is the official podcast for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the UK and Ireland. This is the bye-week edition, a chance to regroup, refresh. Essentially, it is a spa week, Kee. It is a time to get a nice massage, aromatherapy. Are you feeling relaxed, Kee?
Oh, I am, and you put on a lovely voice to say all of that as well, Jay.
I try. Do you know who's
People will be falling asleep on the tube listening to this.
Well, do you know what? We kind of need it, actually, to be honest with you, after that game against Detroit.
Oh, mate.
To be honest. I mean, I don't know how much to talk about it, Kee.
Do we just say worst loss in franchise history and move on, dude?
We'll talk about it a little bit, but it is. Things not going so well on the field. We'll talk about it. Okay. Also, a lot of bigger picture stuff, actually, on the show today as well. Positive inroads into UK participation in flag football. I love flag football, Kee. And what I'm really excited about is it's going to be at the Olympics as well. So we're going to talk about that.
Lovely.
The Jags are making inroads, I suppose, with UK Grassroots manager and Jags diehard Andy Scott's going to join us today, while UK superfan Molly is along with the big question. Her big question is maybe the best yet, Kee. It is the toughest to answer, and more importantly, it's the one that I think is going to be on most Jags fans' minds at the moment. Don't you think, Kee?
Dude, it's the question that needed to be asked at the latest at this stage, so I'm really glad that Molly has brought it to the table.
And you know them both, don't you, Kee?
I do. I know Andy and Molly pretty well, and I would say, I'll put it this way, one of them has excellent facial hair.
Okay, all right, fine. Okay, let's just put a cap on that Detroit game. We'll discuss it quickly, and then we'll just, put a bow on it, because we've become used to narrow defeats. This one was anything but. I mean, there's been a couple blowouts, hasn't there? Like earlier in the season against the Bills. Wasn't it? And this one against the Lions. Yeah. Bucky Brooks on the Jags social channel said that they looked discouraged very early in the game. They knew they couldn't compete against a heavyweight team in the Lions. I mean, we do have to say the Detroit Lions are potentially the favourites to win the Super Bowl this season, but still, Bucky picking up on the Coach Peterson as well, saying that, they look tired. So yeah, it's essentially a moment where we are thankful for the bye week, and not only are we thankful for the bye week, but I think the team are thankful for the bye week. I think the coach is thankful for the bye week as well, Kee.
Yeah, he said, I think it was on Monday, he said the bye week has come at the right time. Let's hope that, all jokes aside, that they can regroup and that they can refresh. And I'm not saying by any means now, because mathematically there's still a chance, but they also will finish with a negative record no matter what. So I'm not saying that they're going to make a run. I'm not saying that anything is going to happen. But what you do want to see is a team that isn't giving up, and you do want to see a team that comes back trying to compete and trying to make the most of the rest of this season, even if it's not for this season, even if it's just for the future of the franchise.
Well, the last couple of games, obviously, Mac Jones, Jacksonville native Mac Jones, has been starting because of Trevor Lawrence's injury. Do we look back at it now and just think, well, these games were close. Maybe Trevor Lawrence wasn't quite getting the appreciation maybe that he deserved. Maybe he was keeping the games close because offensively, just in that game, actually in the last two games, offensively, it hasn't been great, has it?
Yeah,
so maybe Trevor Lawrence,
Yeah, I read something online this week that was talking about Trevor Lawrence potentially being the most underrated player in the NFL, not just QB, but underrated player in the NFL. I don't know where I stand on that, but I do think he certainly, obviously, makes a massive difference to this franchise, even if that is just keeping them competitive against really tough opponents, which is what the Jags have had this season. And I'm not a professional shoulder injury physiotherapist, as you know, Jay, but let's hope that he gets what he needs and can come back to the team when the time is right, because I don't think we should be rushing this.
Yeah, and we spoke at length, didn't we, last week about that, about, should Trevor be rushing back to get on the field, or should he potentially just be waiting it out, even maybe for the rest of the season. I feel like we do have to mention, maybe the elephant in the room a little bit, Kee. There were rumours this week, and potentially fans would have been reading about some coaching changes. And whilst it's no doubt that the team hasn't been performing up to what a lot of Jaguars fans, and indeed the players and the coaching staff, would have expected them, to be playing, it is I don't really know quite what would be the big positive in changing the coaching staff right now.
No, I agree. I completely agree. We actually said it last week, Jay, and I spoke to JP on the show about it on Monday, and he said the same thing. What is the benefit of changing any of the higher-ups right now? What does that achieve? What you do is you focus on what you're doing well. You try and amplify that, and you try and finish the season well. And then at the end of the season, it's potential for clean slate and whatever else. But right now, focus on the positives and try and amplify them. That's it.
Yeah, I think that there's definite reasons to get rid of your head coach or whoever else coaching staff, in season. And one of those reasons is if it's a toxic environment, and that we have seen instances over the last few years.
Recently, haven't we? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. There are instances of that, but there's no reason to think that might be the case in this particular instance. So it's a little bit of a different thing. And the other thing I think we should mention as well is, though the offense definitely didn't get going in either of the last two games, Detroit and Minnesota are arguably two of the best teams in the NFL, right now. I'm not sure if we take any solace out of that. Kee, does it make a difference?
Well, I think for me, it's slightly different with the Packers game and the Eagles game, because you have Trevor Lawrence playing in those against two good teams, and they're competitive. I think Mac isn't. He's just not playing well. I'm not saying he doesn't have the ability to, but you can look at what's happening on the field right now. Mac Jones is not playing well. Trevor.
Let me just pause you on that, actually. Let me just pause you on that. Yeah, because I want to let me tell you these stats, yeah?
Go on.
Jaguars offense in the last 8 quarters without Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, man.
20 first downs, 313 total yards, 13 points. Okay?
Wow.
The Lions at halftime in the game against the Jaguars, 19 first downs, 306 total yards, 28 points. So it is really making a point there that this team is missing Trevor Lawrence. It's a weird thing, isn't it, in reality, because this team hasn't got their franchise quarterback, and in a weird way, it just proves how much they need him. It kind of proves the doubters. I don't know if it proves the doubters wrong, but it's just further accentuating that point, I suppose.
Do you know what says it to me? Is like, right, let's look at the Eagles game, the end of the Eagles game, right? Trevor threw that interception. Jags lose the game. But the difference is Trevor got us into that position. Yes, he made a bad throw, but he got us into that position. Mac Jones is not getting us into that position. It's just not competitive offensively, and I think that's the difference.
Yes, I know that the Detroit Lions did beat the Jacksonville Jaguars the other day, but speaking objectively, not even I think I just want to speak for football fans in general. I do really hope that they get to the Super Bowl. I think that Detroit as a team is and as a city, they never having got a Super Bowl. They've been bad for so long. I know that they beat the Jags heavily, but
It's a good story.
Well,
it's a really good story for the Detroit Lions. Yeah,
yeah, it is.
I'm not rooting against them. I'll put it that way.
No, and you know, and I know this is the Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions are two of the teams that obviously beat the Jaguars this year. But both of those teams are teams that could potentially win the Super Bowl, and those two in a Super Bowl would be kind of fantastic, I think.
As long as we don't see Kansas City in the Super Bowl again, I don't mind who it is, Jay.
Did you see this guy? And I don't want to talk about it too much because I want to talk to him. I want to talk to this person on the podcast. I don't know if you saw this on Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it. NFL UK tweeted it if you haven't seen it. The Jags fan over in the UK who has done out his man cave for Christmas, right? So you walk in, Christmas Jags decorations, and the whole thing is just filled with Jags gear. And this is, if you're a Jags fan, this is like your dream. A Christmas dream. Have you seen it, Kee? It's amazing.
It's spectacular, isn't it? It's really good. Do you know what? If you're watching on YouTube, let's include the video of it because it looks. Words won't do it justice. It's very that is dedication.
Yeah, get on over to YouTube if you haven't seen this, and you can watch. And you can watch us on YouTube. Let's not forget, you can watch this whole episode on YouTube as well. Go subscribe because I really want to get this person on because I want to talk to them about kitting it out because it's not like a Sunday afternoon endeavour. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's taken weeks, not just of actually physically doing it, but the planning behind it as well. Yeah,
100%. Okay, should we do a little bit of positivity though? Bit of positivity in that. There's been the semi-finalists for Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2025 has been announced, and it features two former Jacksonville Jaguars. Torrey Holt, the wide receiver who played for the Jacksonville Jaguars back in 2009, and of course, a man who has got to the semi-finals 6 times, Fred Taylor. For the running back, of course, potentially, the Jags' best ever running back who played for the Jags 98 to 2008. Is this his year, Kee? I act like you've got any say over it.
Well, I've been debating with the rest of the team, and yes, it is his year. I hope it is. Do you know what I was thinking about? I used to do this thing with players that was called the Blitz, right? And it was a minute to answer as many questions as you can. And 2 of the questions was, what's your professional goal and what's your personal goal? And the answers were pretty much always the same. Professional goal, Super Bowl. Personal goal, Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I think it's the same for a lot of players. So for Fred, because absolutely lovely man. I've been very fortunate to meet him a couple of times, and he is always really, really lovely. So for him, I really hope this is his year.
If you're just interested, some of the other players that are in the semi-final include, these are some players that are in their first year of eligibility, okay? So that means that they last played a professional game in the 2019 season. Luke Kuechly of the Panthers is in it. Eli Manning, of course, who won a couple of Super Bowls. Terrell Suggs, Earl Thomas.
First touchdown in the UK.
There we go.
In regular season, if I'm right.
Adam Vinatieri. Also, who else is in there? Eric Allen. Jared Allen, who is in the NFL UK and Ireland Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I believe, or Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the Hall of Fame. It is. Antonio Gates, James Harrison. So there's a lot of big hitters. Hines Ward is there. So there's a lot of big hitters, isn't there? So and only a few of them will get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But we're behind the former Jags. In particular, I think it's fair to say we're behind Fred Taylor, aren't we?
Fingers crossed for Fred. In fact, hashtag fingers crossed for Fred.
Hashtag fingers crossed for Fred.
I'm a genius.
That was
social
weird.
Media genius.
Yes, exactly. Social media Kee. All right, let's move on. Let's talk JagTag. Okay, let's talk positives now with the incredible work that the Jags are doing in the UK at grassroots level. Andy Scott, actually, he leads the program. For good measure, actually, is a Jags fan, big Jags fan, which I suppose you have to be, Andy, don't you?
It really helps, certainly when you work for the organisation for sure. Yeah. Massive fan of American football all round.
Or look, difficult season. I think that's fair to say, isn't it? Let's start by all three of us picking. Let's pick a highlight of the season, shall we, to get us in a good mood. Let's start this off. Key, I'm gonna let you kick off.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Andy repping the JagTag today, just for you, bro.
Nice.
I'm gonna go with Jay. I reckon you could predict what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Cam Little hitting the winner against the Colts in the throwback jerseys. That for me highlight, because I think someone else is gonna say something about Wembley. So I'm gonna go with at the bank, throwback jerseys, Cam Little hitting the winner. That was beautiful.
Andy, what are you saying?
I love this. I was also going to go with special teams, but in this instance, I'm going to go with Parker Washington,
Yeah.
the run back, obviously punt return for touchdown. Phenomenal play. I was actually in the tunnel and I missed it, so
Oh my
that's slightly
goodness.
awkward, but certainly watched it back on film and what a moment.
Great celebration as well.
Uplifted the whole stadium as well. So
So you could just hear people celebrating, but you had no idea why.
exactly that. Yep.
Well,
Was
you're like, just something good's happened. I just don't know what.
Exactly. You know from the roar of the crowd that it was a Jags play as well. So
Mm.
Okay, I'm just going to go with the emergence of Brian Thomas Jr. in general. I think I know that we speak about two different players quite a lot here on Teal Talk, don't we? We speak about Cam Little and Bryce Thomas Jr., but I think there's good reason for that. And when you've got a season where you are searching for positives,
Yeah.
I feel like we've got a long-term positive there. This isn't just like a game or Jags go to Wembley. This is a positive for this season. Going to be a positive for next season, and hopefully a lot longer than that. How was it for you, Andy, having the team over? Did you get them involved in grassroots and community projects?
absolutely, we always do. We had a player out for our schools visit, which was really exciting. And we also had Tony Baselli and a couple of alumni down to our grassroots activation, JagTag Extra Time, which was phenomenal. And then highlight would be open practice at the Grove, 16 practice squad players interacting with the JagTag kids on the field. Lewis Rees Summit there, signing autographs. Fantastic day. What more can you ask for?
That's incredible, dude. Talk to us a little bit about the growth of JagTag getting to 100K recently, which is just fantastic news, man.
Yeah, it's a stat and a headline that we're really proud of. I think the pride for me also comes from transferring those kids from the JagTag pathway into actually playing American football within their BAFA teams or within their networks themselves. But how did we get there? Small steps, I would say. We started off in the Fulham Foundation, used that program to kind of expand into schools across the southwest of London. And then we basically went for a licensed model program to work with our providers. And that increased the footfall of JagTag,
Mm.
immensely, especially across different geographies, Manchester, Liverpool, London. Big presence in Northern Ireland now as well, which is fantastic. So yeah, we just moved into that way of doing it, quality assuring those providers. And JagTag is really a case of, getting footballs in kids' hands, their first interaction with American football. So it's a fantastic program, and I'm super proud of the work we've done.
On that, I suppose it's probably worth explaining because people listen to this Jacksonville Jaguars fans, but they might not know what JagTag is, Andy.
So JagTag was born in 2015, 2016, and it was really to do exactly that, just get kids participating in football, throwing the football around, interacting with their classmates and friends. And then it became a program that we aligned in rules with NFL flag, which is obviously huge. And we just progressed it from that point on, really. So it's been, a really interesting and exciting journey for us from a grassroots level, getting kids playing the sport that we love.
And I want to just go back to what you were talking about with Lewis Rees Zammit there as well, because I wonder if as much as the people would have been interested in Trevor Lawrence or, Josh Hines Allen. I wonder if there was just a lot of love for Lewis Rees Zammit when you were out there.
Yeah, I think so. And the crossover, everybody knows his story, coming from where he came from, a different sporting background. I think that's really exciting for kids. We're under no illusion that, we're a niche sport and there's still, football, rugby, bigger sports that are out there. But it's great to kind of capture those kids that fall through the cracks with those sports and can actually come
Mm.
over to JagTag and really find a place and find a home. And I think Lewis Rees Summit is a very good example of someone they can aspire to for sure.
I do feel like there must be people like, kids that be playing jag tag that will be looking back on times years earlier where they're like, oh, I've met that player. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like they're
Yeah,
watching the NFL and it's like
absolutely.
I've met that player, or like I've got his autograph or things like that. Who else has graced the Jag Tag Hall of Fame, with the Jaguars players to interact with Jag
Yeah,
Tag
we
players.
a story I've got there is that actually I was at the Tottenham Stadium when we were playing away, and I saw from miles away an Andre Cisco JagTag t-shirt standing out in the crowd. And it was really a nice moment for me to see that this kid was leaning over the railing trying to, get a high five. And he called out to Andre and he came over and dabbed him up, high fived him.
Mm.
And it was a really nice recognition moment because I knew that they'd met each other at one of our JagTag events when Andre Cisco was in town. So there's plenty of those stories, but that one was really one that jumped out to me because that fan really had that deep interaction and that connection with that specific player who was fantastic.
I love things like that. I mean, how does Jag Tag weave into the initiatives of NFL UK and BAFA as well to get kids playing?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it's a pathway program for us. So we're trying to get kids playing our sport. And then it's a case of connecting with their local BAFA teams, flag or cadet youth programs, and really moving through the skills and development so that they can pathway into the next step of their football journey. Some people would want to take that into contact. Some are happy staying in the flag space as well. So we've kind of got two pathways there. If you're looking to progress into the contact space, there's plenty of options for you within BAFA. And then we also hope and aspire to get kids into the NFL Academy, and also into, national programs, Great Britain programs, Irish Wolfhounds teams. And there's been some good stories of JagTag kids not only doing that, but actually going into NCAA Division One programs as well. And we were the
Is that right?
start.
That's amazing.
Tell us one of the stories, mate. You can't just don't drip
Yeah.
feed us. Come on.
So
Tom Brady played Jag Tag.
no, unfortunately not. With the 199th pick, what a guy. No, true legend in the sport. But I personally coached a young lad called Peter Clark.
Peter Clark, I saw him play last week.
Yeah, fantastic guy. Yeah,
For Temple.
he's currently playing for the Temple Owls. And he came through the JagTag program in one of our schools in Southwest London, very early on. So brilliant story for him. Obviously went on to his local BAFA teams, went through the NFL Academy, and his journey's just been incredible to watch. Obviously grew about 6 or 7 inches in that time as well, so that always helps being a tight end. But yeah, what a great story, what a great guy, and he's been back to visit us and come down to a few JagTag sessions as an ambassador.
I love that, dude. And talking about you coaching as well, I've been watching you coach for a few years now. I've been to a few JagTag and BAFA events, and I notice your personal growth in that department as well, and how much pride you take in being a good coach. And I think that sets the standard for how good JagTag is getting now. Would you agree?
Yeah, I massively appreciate that, first of all. And I think we also aspire to be the best that we can on the field all the way because you have to set that example. I'm also only as good as the mentors that I've had around me and the people that I've learned from. So
Sure.
I feel that I'm in the process of paying that back somewhat as well. And, trying to have these guys come up underneath me and let me pass on my skills that I've learned over the years for them, whilst always being in the process of learning myself. And we mentioned the Jags' influence on that learning as well. And Coach Heath Farwell, who was on the player tour with us, we also ran a clinic with him, a coaching clinic. And it's just phenomenal to see the knowledge. I think I'm at a certain point, and then I hear his knowledge, and it's just absolutely incredible to, pick up on taking away one or two, real gems from that is really good development for me.
One thing that I do want to talk about is, well, two things to do with flag football, actually. First of all, and I'm really passionate about this because I think it could really pick up, is flag football growing in schools as well. And I imagine that you're the same, that you're quite, you're passionate about it growing in schools.
Yeah, for sure. And we've worked with a number of school games organizers, and we run programs through our network providers in schools. Having it brought into the curriculum is big for us as well. In lesson time as well as lunch clubs and after school clubs and those fun kind of elements. I think one of our teaching ways of doing it is to get an entire class in, teach them, and then kind of filter down into an after school club, which is
Mm.
which is really big for us. But we have to focus all of our efforts on, these young age groups so that they have a chance to develop, especially with 2028 on,
Well, there we go. We'll
everyone's
get to that in a
mind.
second. Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that
So
in a sec. Well, first of all, very jealous, I think, of any like school kids that get to play flag football
Yeah.
in school. I mean, I hated cross country. I'd have much preferred this, to be honest. Let's talk 2028 because you are referring to the Olympics, of course, which is going to have flag football at the Olympics for the first time, which is massive. A massive boost for you as well, I imagine.
absolutely huge. The work to get that over the line was immense from everyone involved, from IFAF, from the league. So look, it's a fantastic opportunity. I've already got my sights set on some JagTag participants that I genuinely believe will be there. I'm
Fantastic.
already having these
Ooh.
conversations, which is very cool, especially on the female side, where we legitimately have a chance to medal. I mean, fifth ranked in the world at the moment as it stands. Rankings came out yesterday. So very, very topical at the moment, and looking forward to that next 4-year journey in that cycle.
Tell me about the Union Jacks Foundation.
Yeah, so Union Jacks Foundation was officially launched in 2023, although we piloted it in 2020. Foundation's objective is to work with underserved communities and really give back through the medium of sport, essentially. So we have multiple programs that we run underneath the foundation umbrella, flag football programs, all girls programs, and just some kind of academic programming as well. And it's a really good way for us to connect back directly to the community, for us to work with partners such as Sport England and charitable organizations. So yeah, the work that we're doing at the moment is really good, and I'm really excited about what that can look like in the future.
Well, and in Northern Ireland as well.
Yeah, the programming in Northern Ireland that we're doing at the moment is really centering around our JagTag. It's one of two areas where we're really strong with the all girls program as well. So we're all female JagTag. And the beauty of that part of the program is that they also empower young leaders. So we're actually having girls that are 17, 18, kind of teaching girls that are 11, 12 years old, which again is such a good product for the growth of the sport, and I think a great way of bringing on the next generation.
So there's a part of me that's like, this is great for kids, but I'm quite jealous, to be honest with you. Can I play?
You
Well, that's
may
awkward.
be a tiny bit too old.
No,
I
I'm not a tiny bit too old. I am a fresh 18-year-old man.
But there may be another way. As to
Okay,
Kee's point, maybe we could bring you up as a coach potentially.
there we go. Will I get to be a coach at the Olympics, though, Andy?
So Andy has clearly modelled himself on Coach Nielsen. So which coach would you model
With
yourself
the
on, Jay?
moustache, of course.
Yeah,
Which?
Movember.
Oh, that's a really good. That's a really good question, Key. Which coach? Bill Belichick. I feel like I have the same
Dude,
demeanor.
say a Jags coach.
Well, I know, but I was just thinking. I was going to say something about the demeanor.
Bill Belichick.
What's wrong with Bill Belichick?
Are you going to
Let's have the
start
same
just
demeanor.
using 2 words at a time? And
That's
that's
what I
it,
was
and just
saying.
constantly grumpy.
He's actually very good at the media now. May I
Did
add.
you see him on the roast of Tom Brady?
No, I did not. Should
He
I?
was so good. He was so good. Really funny. Yeah, and very surprising.
Andy, thank you so much for joining us today. Just answer this next question. What is next then for JagTag, and how can people get involved?
Yeah, what's next? Continued growth. We're gonna, keep pushing the JagTag and the JagTag Extra Time programs across the country. Big expansion plans in multiple cities. Most of our programs are free, actually, because we're covered by our corporate partners and other forms of sponsorship. We are always on the lookout for sponsorship and any ways of funding these programs for sure. How do people get involved? They can contact us through the website, through our social media as well, at JagTag UK, all of our social channels from Jaguars UK, and obviously just reach out. Let's see if we can get something going in your area. Very exciting times.
Thanks, Alex, Andy. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Nice man, that Andy Key. I swear I bumped into him every 30 seconds during that 2 weeks where the Jaguars were in London. He was busy. He was everywhere. He was everywhere.
He covers a lot of ground in those 2 weeks. And I remember sending him a text message and he said, "My time is very specifically monitored and scheduled for the next 2 weeks," Kay, which is fantastic. One thing I really like about Andy, I try and talk about Guinness as much as I can on this podcast. I remember having a pint with Andy. He's been alcohol free for a year, and he was drinking 0 Guinness and managed to split the G. Nice. But it didn't feel like a win.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I went to Ireland in summer, and I got a Guinness, failed to split the G, and a friend of mine that I was with, he doesn't drink any alcohol. He hates Guinness, but he bought a 0% Guinness just to try and split the G. Failed, didn't drink the rest. €10.
Amazing.
Let's move on to Duval Dispatches. Almost Christmas, Key. Almost Christmas. Ooh. It's almost Jagsmas.
Oh, you didn't, did you? Did you?
For the first time ever, the Jaguars UK and Ireland are launching an epic Christmas competition. 12 days of Christmas, 12 competitions, 12 amazing prizes. I'm actually a bit annoyed about this because I quite fancy all of these prizes. Signed jerseys, signed footballs, a throwback jersey.
Okay.
There is more. Do you know what, actually? I'm going to be really blunt. Can I be really blunt, actually, and just say that some of this is written for me, Key, right? And in front of me, instead of it saying there's more, it says there's more. There's more. Come on.
It is Christmas. Gold, frankincense,
I can't
and
actually
myrrh.
say what the rest of the prizes are, though, just to be clear, because the rest of the prizes they're so good, I can't even mention it yet. I'm not allowed to mention it yet.
Dude, that sounds
It's running across Jaguars UK and IE on X, on Facebook and Instagram. The first one is going to start on the 1st of December. Good luck. And again, I'm reading this. I hope you all enter.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, I love it. Oh, wait. There's more. You'll be sorry if you don't. I love it. I love it. That is so good.
Do you know what? Secretly, I really like all of
Do you know
that.
what? We should double down. If we have to talk about this next week, and we will talk about this next week because it won't have even started next week.
Dear.
We'll just double down on the Christmas puns. I love it. We want more.
We have to have at least 12 puns in the 12 days of Christmas.
That's a good way of looking at it. So what is on the Sky Show with Reece Parkinson this week? Key, obviously some people might have watched it already because it's on a Wednesday, but what things should people look out for as obviously there's repeats?
Yeah, so even if you've already seen the show, there's repeats, and all the stuff goes up on the Jaguars UK YouTube channel throughout the week as well. It's a good one this week, you know, despite a tough game, it's a good one. So we have the analysis with Reece and JP and Tony Baselli talking about the season as a whole and what to expect, what the team should be focusing on going into the bye week. But highlight for me this week is Reece sitting down with Coach Heath Farwell, who honestly is one of the loveliest people you'll ever meet. They get on really well, and it's a really lovely chat, particularly when Reece asks Coach what he likes to do off the field. Favourite moment. Maybe of the whole season.
Of the whole season?
Maybe, yeah.
Can you give us a tease?
Coach is talking about his kids and whether it's right to let them win or not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Right,
it's good stuff.
So where can people watch it? Just remind us again.
So it is on Sky Sports NFL. If we go out before Wednesday, it's on Wednesdays at 9 p.m, but it's also repeated throughout the week on Sky and then at Jaguars UK YouTube channel for your bits.
Okay, so we're going to get to the fan of the week in a second and the big question. If you want to be featured as our fan of the week. You can, if you want to be featured as our fan of the week, get in touch via the media drop down on jaguars.co.uk and we will add you to the list. First though, Key, last week we said we were giving away a lovely Jaguars hoodie. We are men of our words. We are not liars, not in this respect anyway. Who are we going to give it to, Key? Personally, I kind of hope it goes unclaimed, as the Jaguars UK and Ireland HQ didn't hear when I said that I wanted.
So the only way it goes unclaimed is if no one commented on YouTube, which I can already tell you, Jay. Sorry to disappoint, but people did comment. Do you know what? I'm looking at it right now, and we had one from Francis who has said, I need this hoodie as I have 6 jackets and no hoodies. I know. Crazy how I don't have a hoodie. He's gone into so much detail. I love it. How I don't have a hoodie, and I love a hoodie. It will go really well with my chain and new bling I've got coming.
New bling.
Francis is the winner. Francis, he's written an essay.
Congratulations to Francis. I like to think that, you know, it's going to be hoodie, jacket over the hoodie, hat, Jaguars
chain.
Bling, you know, loads of chains.
Yep.
Perfect. Congratulations, Francis. Are we getting in touch with Francis, Key, or what's happening?
Yes, so I will reply to Francis's comment on the YouTube channel and let him know how to get in touch with us to get his lovely teal hoodie.
All right. Congratulations. Key, should we move on to the fan of the week and therefore the big question? This time around, let's welcome Jags fan from the UK and Ireland, Molly. Molly, what is the big question?
So my question is, how have we gone from 8-3 in week 12 of last season to now only having won 3 games out of the last 17 regular season games? What do you think has changed?
It's a really good question. And honestly, I think that's a question that not only are we going to speak about, but has been spoken about a lot within Jacksonville as well, a lot within the Jaguars organization, I imagine, as well. Key,
yeah.
Do you have a good answer for this? I feel like you might.
I have an answer.
Okay, that'll do.
Which is all we can hope for, really, isn't it? Molly, Monday Night Football, Bengals losing to a backup QB. This team has not looked the same since. I think something happened that night that meant, and I watch every game. I study tape of every game, and I'm not massively X's and O's, but what I do notice is body language. And I do notice psychology, and I do listen to what people say. Something changed in that game. Losing to a second-string QB on Monday Night Football in front of everyone. A lot of pep was lost, and I just don't think we've got it back yet. I think that's what it is. I don't think it's talent. Something has lost in the, whatever you want to call it, the verve, the pep, the confidence of the team. And I think it changed in that Monday night game. And I think it's just the case of refinding it, because it's not a talent issue for me. It's something has happened with the confidence. Like, I don't know. I'm not a professional psychologist, as you know. But I think
that's your catchphrase. I think in this,
you've noticed podcast. I've been trying to get that in every episode.
It's as if you want me to say that you are.
Maybe I do. I just think that's a huge part of it, because I don't think it's that they're bad at football. I think it's something else, and I think confidence has a lot to do with it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to sort of jump on that and say that whilst I don't think this would have changed the overall course of the season, to be honest with you, because I just don't necessarily think it would have done. I do think that looking back at those first couple games of the season, you do wonder what would have happened if there was a victory there in one of them, to be honest with you. Games that you now look back on and you think there was, the Jags probably should have beaten the Dolphins. Jags probably should have beaten the Browns.
Yeah.
If there was a victory in one of those, then maybe you can get another couple wins in the books just through as you mentioned there, like not positivity alone, but sometimes momentum. I do believe that momentum is a thing. Some people don't believe it's a thing. I do believe it's a thing. So maybe that would have made a difference. What do you think, Molly?
I thought you guys were going to say injuries.
Well, injuries is definitely a factor. There's no doubt about that. And I mean, I was going to say that Trevor Lawrence, obviously, at the end of last season, because we spoke about this during the summer. If you say, why did the Jags have a rough end to the season last season? Well, look, Trevor Lawrence was injured. Even when he was playing, he was injured. And I think that's going to be a massive factor.
I don't think we can blame injuries because of the start of this season. We had a great, strong team. Everyone was healthy. So I don't think it's down to injury either. I think you guys are right. There is something in the fabric that has changed. Can't put our fingers on it. Don't know what it is. But it's that morale. It's that positivity, that energy. It just feels like it's dropped off. And I don't know the reason for that. But we are lacking that, that go, that confidence that we can smash it. Last year we were looking at, can we get to the Super Bowl? And it's just completely dropped off. And I think to go from one extreme to now the other, that's going to have a really big impact on mentality, mindset, and how a team's going to move forward together. You're not going to be cohesive if there's that morality. That morale is not there. It's all very subdued, and I feel like we've just seen that. Even in the plays, there's no confidence. It's all a lot of the running game, and there's not a lot of
jogging. There's a lot of jogging to the sideline.
Yeah. There's the plays you can see. There's no confidence in it. So I'm not sure what's changed that. I wish I knew, but I think something there. That mindset has changed definitely.
Great question, Molly. Great question.
I saw Coach Peterson say, over the last few days that the bye weeks come at a time, not a good time necessarily, but a time when just the whole team is tired. And I wasn't sure if he meant it, but in this way. But obviously they're going to be physically tired. But I think they're going to be emotionally tired as well right now. Is this a time, Molly, when you are thinking, are you looking towards next season already?
I don't want to say yes, because I'm always optimistic. Every game we go into, I think you've got to be positive, because I'm, Jags fan through and through. That's never going to change. So that hope is always there. I think to say it's a write-off, okay, yes, but that doesn't mean that I don't look forward to each game, because there's always the opportunity for those little nuggets of, gold that just make it worthwhile watching it. So no, I'm looking to next season to hope that we've made those changes to whatever it is that needs to be fixed, but I'm still looking forward to the remainder of the season.
Okay, well, answer this then. What's the best possible outcome for you between now and the last game of the season?
Just either consistency. So even if we're still losing the games, just to show that we're playing more consistent, just to have that cohesiveness and just to show that consistency. I think that would be the best outcome. So we've got that little bit of hope to cling on to for next year.
Oh, that's a really good point, actually, that Molly, because I think that, and I've said this before, that the off season is so long. I call it hope season because it's so long that you have to have that little bit of hope, and every franchise's fans have that hope because it could be like, this could be the year. And I think that, I said it in the summer to you, Key, is that it felt like because of the way that the last season ended, that hope, it wasn't quite maybe as hopeful as it could have been, for such a long time. So if the Jags are able to put a few wins under their belt, or even, not even wins, but just show some fight in some particular areas, in the team, where you can then say, all right, well, actually, I feel good about this part of the team, and I feel good about this part of the team. This part of the team really stepped up towards the tail end of the season. Then you can really start to feel good about different aspects. And don't get me wrong, every single part of this team, I don't think they're going to be writing it in, because at the end of the day, they're professionals and they've still got a lot to play for. They've got their careers to play for.
It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous to give 100%. It half effort. They won't be doing that. No.
So I think that they are still going to be giving it their all, and hopefully things will click.
I mean, they've got the summer to get that momentum going, to build up the hype for the fans, for the team themselves, like just build that momentum so that when we get to next season, it is like, go, go, go. And everyone's got that positivity and that like fresh feeling. Because this season going in, it didn't feel as fresh. It felt like we still had a bad taste in our mouths from last season. So it's like, just to get that freshness in, I think that will make a big difference.
Yeah, have a few nice games around Christmas time. Make it a Merry Christmas for Jags fans. And then, people will be feeling good, over the weeks after that as well. Molly, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Yeah, cheers to Molly, Key. Great question. She was wearing her Jags sweatshirt. I'm surprised she wasn't wearing her Jags onesie, because it's her and there's a bunch of them that go to the games, isn't there? And they all wear the Jags onesies.
They do. I assume it was in in wash.
Yeah, or hung up on the wall.
Let's hope so. Let's hope it was airing.
I think I spoke to them before, and she said, or one of them said that they'd never washed it.
Steve said, Molly's partner Steve said that he'd never washed it.
I don't know if I want to know that, to be honest, Steve.
Gross.
Just don't know if I want to know that.
Gross.
Let's go to the predictions league, our tally of
No, I don't think we should, Joe.
No, I feel like we should, of how I'm doing in our predictions for Jags games, you're doing, and the fans are doing.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I find it quite embarrassing that I'm top.
Dude, none of us have got anything to brag about, really, have we?
So I'm on 5. I'm leading. Okay. You're on. Then it goes fans. Fans have got 3, right? And then you're there with 2. How many games have the Jags won this season?
2.
So unfortunately, this is
You're saying it's not my fault.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is it's embarrassing that I've chosen 3 times. I've chosen the Jags to lose, and they've lost, and that is why I'm top of the league. So I feel kind of embarrassed about that, to be honest. Though it does have to be said that I have been told that there is a big grand prize for this, for whoever wins this league. Key.
Right. Okay.
You're not happy, are you, about this?
No. Now I'm fuming, and now I am actually going to talk to Simon, our producer, about a new co-host for this podcast next season.
Because I didn't even know that there was going to be a prize, but I've been told it's the grandest prize of all time.
Is it one of Francis's chains?
It's one of Francis's chains, or it's Steve's sweaty onesie.
Dude, you can have it. You can have it.
Yeah, it's like great. Cheers, Steve. Cheers, Steve. That was your sweaty onesie.
You get the prediction in the post, and green smoke is coming out.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a slightly damp postage. Anyway, less about sweat. There isn't a game, obviously, this weekend because it's a bye week. Next up is Texans at home, but we'll get more into that this time next week.
Okay.
Won't we, Key? So you don't need to give your prediction. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I predict that the Jags will not lose this week.
There we go. This doesn't count. This doesn't count as a week.
Give me an extra point, dude. I'm on
No,
2.
it doesn't count doesn't count. Just in case it is a really good grand prize and it's not a sweaty onesie.
Okay.
Kee, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been lovely. We'll be back next week. Are you going to take this weekend off watching the NFL, watching the Jags? Are you going to sit watching Red Zone regardless?
I will sit and watch Red Zone regardless to see how everyone else in the division gets on, etc., etc. Also, just love NFL, man. Yeah. Sunday isn't the same without it.
Amen to that, Kee. Amen to that. All right, we'll be back next week. This has been a Shooting Sharp production for Jacksonville Jaguars, UK and Ireland. If you are watching on YouTube, go subscribe where you get your podcasts. If you are listening where you get your podcasts, go subscribe on YouTube. That's all the subscriptions. That's right, isn't it?
Generally, go subscribe on YouTube.
Generally, just go subscribe. Just go subscribe. We'll be back next week. Have a good one.